Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Title Scoop. So this week we're going to talk about powers of attorney, also known as POAs, and we're going to get started. So when you have a power of attorney, the power of attorney is actually the document, and generally speaking, you're going to have two parties. You're going to have the principal, who's the person who is signing the power of attorney, and then you're going to have the attorney in fact or the agent. Now, it depends on your state. Some people call it the attorney in fact, some call it the agent. So it just depends where you are. But that's the person who's going to be signing on behalf of the principal and who's given the powers by the principal to act on their behalf. So there are different kinds of power of attorneys, but for our purposes, we're generally looking at durable power of attorneys, and durable just means continuing. It means continuing if the principal is incapacitated or disabled. So when we look at that, we want to make sure, like I said, that it's durable and it allows it to continue. Now, sometimes you may have a special or a specific power of attorney, and in real estate transactions, we actually see that a lot depending on where your state is. And that's, I'm selling a house. I don't actually have a power of attorney for most things, but I'm selling a house. I'm not going to be in town and I want my husband to sign. So I sign a power of attorney, giving him the authority to sell and convey and basically sign on my behalf while I'm out of town. So when we have those, they have to be very specific as to what the person can do. And also we're going to have the legal description because we want to make it very specific as to our transaction. Now, when you're asked to rely on a power of attorney, you have to ask a lot of questions. And I encourage you to ask these up front because if you come to us, we're going to ask you. We're going to say, why do they want to use it? Why can the principal not sign? Has anyone talked to the principal to know, one, are they alive? And two, have they authorized this transaction? What's the relationship? Does it make sense? Is it their son or is it someone who's never met the person? That might be a red flag of why we would want to rely on it. And then did the principal sign the contract? That's sometimes when we have a sale. If they've signed it and then they just have something going on, they're not going to be able to be there, or maybe they have surgery that day and this is the only day they can close, then maybe we can use that power of attorney. So when you're reviewing a power of attorney, you always want to make sure it's signed by the principal and notarized properly. We also want specific language, giving the attorney in fact the power to do whatever it is they're trying to do, whether they're selling, refinancing, buying. And you have to make sure with that language, again, that it's really, really specific. A power to sell is not a power to convey. We want it to be sell and convey. A power to transfer is not the ability to do a mortgage. So if it doesn't give a power, they cannot use it for the transaction. Now, if it's vague, we might deny it because we don't want it to be vague. We want to make sure it's very clear what that attorney in fact can in fact do. And again, like we said, if it's a specific transaction, we need the language specific and we need that legal description included. Now, I would say always read the entire document. Sometimes there's limiting language. Sometimes it terminates on a date. We want to make sure that it is good. If it's a really old power of attorney, ask questions. Is this still good? Is it still in effect? Has there been a new one? Has this been revoked? Things like that to make sure that we can, in fact, use this document. We're going to, for an underwriting guideline, generally going to suggest to you, get an affidavit that the principal would be great if they could sign a principal or the attorney in fact is certifying that this is still in force and effect. And we want to find out, again, why are we using it? If it's for, I didn't talk about this earlier, if it's for incapacitation, we may need a doctor's note saying that the person isn't able to sign, and that's why we're using this power of attorney now. I had one not that long ago where it was signed, say, like a week ago, and they were saying, well, we're using it because the person's incapacitated, which of course was a red flag. And we had to make sure that the person was not incapacitated at the time they signed the document. So again, just some questions you're going to ask. When you have a power of attorney, the thing that probably is my biggest pet peeve is people sign it wrong. They love to just sign their name and put POA after it. They're not a document. A POA is a document. They are the attorney in fact. So make sure the grantor is the person who in fact owns the property, which is generally going to be your principal, right? So say Kurt Russell owns a house and Goldie Hawn is his attorney in fact. The signature is going to read Kurt Russell by Goldie Hawn, his attorney in fact. And we want the notary to notarize specifically that way too. They are notarizing Goldie Hawn in her capacity as the attorney in fact for Kurt Russell. So just make sure that that's all spelled out correctly. Again, biggest pet peeve is when a person puts POA after their name. That's not what they are. So some of the questions we get the most: can a corporation, an LLC, a partnership, a trust, guardianships, executors, can any of those, either corporations or people, do a power of attorney? Maybe. We want to make sure that the documents or the authorization documents actually state specifically that they can do a power of attorney. And then we're going to want some type of approval. So like say for a corporation, if their articles are very specific that they can have a power of attorney, executed and that the attorney in fact can work on their behalf, we're going to want to see that in their articles, but we also are then going to want the board of directors approving it, saying yes, that it is in fact what we're going to do. So again, it has to be very specific. If we get a court order, sometimes we'll see that in probate. The court order will say that they can have a power of attorney. Then in that case, they can sign one and we can use it. Last thing, if you have a power of attorney and it has two attorney in fact, we want it to be very specific if they can act independently or if they have to act jointly. If it is vague, we are going to ask for both of them to sign because we don't want to make the mistake and assume that they can act independently. So, okay, with that, we're going to call it a week and we will see you guys next week.